So Apple is obviously working on M3-based products, such as the MacBook Pro, other Apple computers in the lineup. According to Mark Gurman, the release of new laptops with M3 CPUs will happen late 2023 or around 2024. Mark have a pretty good track record predicting Apple releases. So the question is, should you wait for the M3 or should you buy an Apple product today? So the short answer is, if you need something now and today, you should get it now, and there will always be something new and better around the corner. But with that said, the rumors about M3 is a little interesting, so keep watching this video because I'm going to get into some of the details about the new CPU the new Apple products is going to use. So Apple has made waves in the industry with their transition from Intel chips to their in-house designed CPUs based on the ARM architecture. The M1 chip was and also is a game changer. It delivers exceptional performance and power efficiency. It's so good that people didn't upgrade to the M2. In the start of this year, actually, Apple had to reduce their M2 production with 50%. So this is only speculation on my part. It's not based in anything. Maybe people don't feel that it was worth paying a premium to upgrade from M1 to M2 to get around 18% performance increase, which is a ballpark number about what the M2 would give you in increased performance from the M1. Of course, it depends a little on what type of Apple product you have and what you compare it to. So Apple products are premium products. The prices often reflect that. And as we are all slaves to the banks running this world, we have less money due to the inflation and the human malware that happened a few years ago. That could also be one of the reasons why the sales of the M2-based Apple computers are lower than perhaps expected. But the M3 processors will bring the same benefits we have seen in the M1, but with even more power, obviously. So let's talk performance for a while. The M3 processors are anticipated to offer a significant boost in speed and efficiency. And wow, I'm almost sounding like an Apple commercial.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us.
I can assure you that this video is not sponsored by Apple.
Good morning.
Well, the reason for the performance increase is the rumored 3nm process this CPU is going to be made from. The M1 and the M2 is made from a 5nm production process, and if the M3 uses the 3nm process, we can expect a bigger performance increase and lower power consumption compared to going from the M1 to M2. So why is that? Well, without making this an hour-long video explaining how CPUs works, basically with a lower production process you get room for more transistors, and a CPU is basically a collection of a billion transistors that performs calculations by switching them on and off. Easily explained. So this means it will require less cooling. Transistors are faster because they are physically more close to each other, and you can fit more transistors on the same space as the previous generation. So knowing that, we can kind of extrapolate where we are going. Let's talk a little bit about design. We don't have any concrete information about design. We all know that Apple is pretty secretive of their products, but we can expect them to continue the tradition of sleek and minimalist designs, and I have no doubt the upcoming models will continue that trend.
Good morning.
Additionally, with the power efficiency of the M3 processors, Apple may even be able to reduce the size and weight of MacBook models, further making them even more portable and convenient for people. And this is a balance act between battery life, size of the computer, and of course the performance. And a few years ago, Apple did get a lot of criticism when they made their latest Intel Macs. They had huge issues with throttling and heat just because it was so thin, and making the computer so thin they also had to do some changes to the keyboard. The keys stopped working on the keyboard and everything like that. I worked actually as an Apple repairman, if you will, at that time, and We got a lot of keyboard issues on those Macs, so I had to replace a lot of top cases. So I don't think Apple want to get into that issue again. And after that, Joni Ive quit Apple, so that's pretty interesting. But anyway, they had huge issues with throttling and heat just because they were so thin, so I suspect they perhaps keep the current form factor. The 14 and 16 inch are really nice, a little thick, but well, it's a really great built computer. If they do that, they get the benefits from higher performance and longer battery life, probably. Who knows? We have to wait and see what Apple decides to do. So all this doesn't work if you have good software. Software is important, and Apple's transition to their own processors has already shown great results in terms of software optimization. And the M3 processors will, of course, benefit from this as well. So Macs are traditionally not computers aimed at gaming. I'm not going to talk much about gaming here, but if you take a look at my Diablo 4 video I released on this channel 2 weeks ago, we can get a glimpse on what could be coming on that front, given that developers feel it's worth developing games for the Mac. Now when Apple have made it easier with new tools such as the game porting toolkit, enabling developers to easily see if their Windows games are actually going to work on a Mac. And people are actually using that tool to actually play Windows games on Macs now, and it works pretty good. And if you use Apple software such as Logic, Final Cut and others, you are more or less golden. That will work flawlessly on these machines. They work on the M1, the M2, there are no issues.
Morning.
Personally, I have used DaVinci Resolve on my Mac and Ableton Live without any issues. It works really well. DaVinci Resolve just eats through image or video editing, even on the M1 Mac I have here from 2020. So software-wise, these products are pretty solid. And as I said in the beginning of this video, if you really need something now, you should actually go out and buy it now. If it's a large investment for you, perhaps you could buy a used M1 based machine at a discount and see if that works for you, and perhaps upgrade when the M3 comes out. These machines are in demand on the used market, so you would be able to sell your M1 Mac when the M3 comes out. We don't have any official release dates yet, but if what Marx is saying and if history is any indication, Apple usually unveils their new MacBook models during their annual fall event, so after the summer. So fingers crossed we won't have to wait that long, and if they don't do much changes to the design, perhaps we will see it during the end of this year or 2024 as they predict. So personally, I have talked about the M2 Max MacBook Pro on this channel in earlier videos. I have sold that Mac now, so I'm only using my 2020 13-inch MacBook Pro now for my for everything, office use, traveling, things like that, because it's sufficient for my needs. I am putting some money to the side to perhaps be ready when the M3 comes. You can be sure you are going to see some about it on this channel related to mostly music production and perhaps a little bit gaming as well. So my main PC, as you can see here, is or maybe you can't see it, but it's a Windows-based PC. It's here in my room. It's connected with my cables. It's ready to go. And I have a Mac here as my secondary PC, which is my teleprompter right now as well. The reason I have my Windows PC here, I do switch between sometimes, but it's just because of actually gaming. I can double click Diablo 4 here and it pops up, and the performance is really good with the 2080 Ti graphics card, and I don't have to unplug cables or use a KVM switch, and it just works, and it works for my needs, because time is important as well. I mean, you have a day job and everything, it has to work. But I have to say, if Apple is getting more games, if developers are using the Apple Game Developer Toolkit and get more games to the Mac, the main PC here perhaps at some time might be a Mac Studio M3 based computer. Who knows? Time will tell. There are links below, and you can check them out if you want to support what I do. Check out my Spotify profile or shop your stuff on Amazon using my links below. And that's all for today. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us.